So in a previous video, I had mentioned how I got these awesome Nintendo Switch Online controllers, but couldn't get the Sega Genesis one because they were sold out. Well, Nintendo restocked. I also have an old Sega Genesis controller to compare it to. It's important to note, though, that that's from '93, and this is probably replicating the '89 design. First things first, the boxes are nothing alike. This is Sega branding all over it. This is Sega branding on the front and the side, and then everything else just says Nintendo. So one thing that's important to note is that the Sega Genesis controller is wireless for the Nintendo Switch, but on the original Sega Genesis, it still does have a wire. Another thing to note is look at the red accenting on the wireless controller. Meanwhile, the wired one for the original Sega Genesis has white accenting. This is because this is an original 1989 design, and this is a later design. Another thing to note is that this controller does not have a mode button. Meanwhile, the Nintendo Switch controller does have a mode button. In Sega Genesis games that took advantage of 6 buttons instead of 3, you had mode to swap between the two sets of buttons, X, Y, Z, and A, B, C. Other than that, this one's just wireless.